actually, but the opportunity to go abroad came about, and I was teaching the American equivalent of A-level computing, which is all based around Java. And for the first time in 7 or 8 years, I can honestly say I taught a course where not one single student was bored in a single class. Now, maybe I'm just not fantastic with Excel and Access, maybe they're just not my thing. Maybe it was the course material, but the students loved it, the students were engaged, the students could see a point of what they were doing. Of that class, over 2/3 are now studying a degree in computing either in North America or in Europe somewhere. That is in sharp contrast to what I had for a few years before that. So I came back to Northern Ireland full of motivation, and while I was abroad, computing at school was formed. And the mythology of computing at school, I think a lot of us can relate to it. You know, we knew something was wrong. We just couldn't put our finger on it. And we felt like nobody was listening. And in the mythology of computing at school, a couple of teachers and a couple of lecturers get together in a pub. Lecturers say to teachers, why are you sending us people who have no idea about computing, who think they can get through a computing degree without knowing how to program, who think it's going to be 3 years of mucking about with PowerPoint. And rather than simply whinging about it, they thought, well, let's get together, let's do something about it. And a 6 or 7 person working group within the British Computer Society was formed. And that eventually became Computing at School, which now has a completely independent body, or a completely independent existence in its own right. It's not just teachers, there's industry. Google and Microsoft agree this is a good thing. So if Google and Microsoft actually agree, and they're not suing each other over naming rights or patent rights or something, obviously it's something strange is happening. University academics, exam boards, BCS, parents, local education bodies, teacher trainers, because we all have one common concern. Why is nobody teaching our kids how to program? Why is nobody addressing the fact that 1/4 of all jobs in Northern Ireland are about programming? This is a serious issue. We need to do something about it. They are some of the people who are backing it. We have a lovely online forum. All teachers are welcome to join it. We've also put together a model curriculum going all the way through from Key Stage 3 to Key Stage 5. Because lots of people say, yep, I like the idea of doing some programming, but I need somebody to hold my hand, I need somebody to help me. And there are tons and tons of resources on our website to help people. There's also this magazine, and you've got a copy of it. At this point, I promise to draw your attention to page 15. The printed version of this is a little bit harsh and see it in their own computing. Michael will say more about this later, but in the editing of things, a few words were taken out that skewed the meaning slightly. So I will leave that with you. Michael can say more about that later. We have regional hubs. You are the CAS Northern Ireland Regional Hub. Well, you're half of it. The other half are away watching a football match. They said they'd be here, and then they got a better offer of a barbecue or something. There are regional hubs springing about all over the UK, and they're doing great things. We'll come more to that later. CAS also have the year of government. They're now recognised as the subject body for computer science. There wasn't a subject body for computer science 3 years ago. We've worked with the Royal Society, we've worked on the Livingstone Report, we're talking to the government. There's also the issue of exam board kite marking, that we want to be in a position where we're rubber stamping what AQA and CA and OCR are doing, saying, yep, this meets the standards, so that when schools are choosing ICT or A-level or ICT or computing qualifications, they know that somebody has looked at and say, yep, the content is relevant, it's going to be good for preparing students for further study, and so on. We're also looking at the Network of Excellence. You'll hopefully hear more about this in your schools either towards the end of June or in September. It's been launched in GB, but we wanted you people to know about it first before we sent word to your headmasters. Otherwise, they'd come to you and they'd say, what's computing at school? And you'd say, you've heard of them. And an awful lot of mail shots would go in the bin. The whole idea was to set up 250 schools across the UK that are teaching within their own school computing Key Stage 3 all the way through, and reaching out to local post-primary and primary schools to help deliver computing science Not just programming, but the thinking and problem-solving skills behind computer science that don't go out of date when C2K roll out the next version of Office or whatever else. In Northern Ireland, we've also been talking with the politicians. Some of us went up to Stormont in September. We're invited there. People some people in the photograph are here. This comes from an Alliance members website, but this is a cross-party issue that a number of MLAs have been working on because they've been contacted by constituents. Some of them are teachers, some of them are in this room, some of them are in industry who are saying, how come we have to employ Polish programmers? 10 years ago, we thought it was a novelty that the guy coming to fix your boiler was Polish. Now the guy coming to write software for you is Polish. CAS are bringing a new office in Poland. This is not a good thing. We have just been talking to politicians. This was taking on, was it Tuesday? Are you in this week? Tuesday, yeah. In Morello and Coleraine. That's me. That's 12 wonderful people who came to learn about Greenfoot. Greenfoot is a nice fund end for Java. You'll hear a bit more about it later. But something we found is if you go to education boards or exam boards and say, we need training, they say, yep, we agree you need training. And by the time it gets through bureaucracy and so on, all the momentum's gone out of it. So I did it myself. You can do it yourself. If you're passionately enthusiastic about VB and the person beside you knows nothing about VB and wants to teach it, organise a course, do it. Organise a course from scratch. You don't need to wait for the exam boards. One or two people asked me about this. I advertised it through CAS, and all of a sudden we had people not being able to get in the course. I was turning people away. I used Greenfoot with my year 12, but I'll tell you more about that later. Why do we need to teach people how to program? Well, students at some point will say to you, how is it that I can lift this phone and talk to somebody in Australia? Or how come my email gets to Auntie in Australia? How come the text message gets to my phone and not your phone? How come that flying chicken hits the green pig and explodes and obeys the laws of physics? If we simply say to them, well, that's how it is, it works. The subliminal message they're getting at age 7, 8, 9, 10 is, you don't think. Thinking's bad, stop thinking. If we can start to teach them how these things work, we open their mind, they become curious, and they want more. I found that in my own school, we do extracurricular activities, and all of a sudden they're badgering the head in the corridor, when are we getting A-level computing back? And all we have to do is reach out to the students and grab their interest. Anyway, enough about me. I'll tell you a bit more about Greenfoot later on. The plan for tonight, you'll get to say who you are and what you do, and that'll take a few minutes, and then OCR will tell us why their GCSE computing is much, much better than AQA's. AQA will respond by telling us why OCR's GCSE is a bad idea and theirs is absolutely wonderful. Glenn Walsh from, was it the Southeastern Board, Glenn? Yeah. Will tell us about some software development tools. Ian Simons from Wellington College will tell us about the Vikings. Did you know the Vikings used the internet? Hopefully we'll hear a little bit about Greenfoot, and then we'll have some sort of wrap up and discuss where we're going next and what's going to happen after this. So you know who I am. We start at the back, we'll sort of work our way forward, shout out who you are, what you do, and why you're here.